Shiites. Other protests were planned in cities across the country. President Trump said the heavy and pinpoint bombing will continue through the week or longer, and is now warning Iran not to escalate attacks. This morning, the FBI is raising counter-terrorism teams to high alert status. The U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran has disrupted flights across the Middle East and beyond yesterday.
The disruptions come as countries near that region close their airspace. In addition, 3 key airports that connect Europe, Africa, and the West to Asia halted operations. Israel, Qatar, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Bahrain all closed their airspace. Those closures stranded thousands of travelers or diverted them to other airports.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart reporting flights also stopped over the United Arab Emirates. News and analysis at townhall.com.
In today's fast-paced world, professionals face endless projects, deadlines, competition. To thrive, you need mental clarity, sharp focus, and reliable memory. That's why the same company that brings you Relief Factor created Think Factor. Think Factor is designed to help you think clearer and perform better daily. It's a powerful blend of nutrients that supercharges your memory and sharpens your focus. You can stay on top of your work and outshine the competition. After a couple of weeks of taking Think Factor, I noticed a dramatic difference in my clarity, my focus, even my memory. And you know what? The longer you take Think Factor, the better the results are. If you ever felt mentally foggy or struggled to keep up with everything on your plate, the Think Factor can help you reclaim your cognitive edge and thrive in your life. Call 800-4RELIEF, 800 the number 4RELIEF, or visit relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com to order Think Factor. Call 800-4RELIEF or visit relieffactor.com. Your first bottle, just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, prevent damage.
Secretary of War Texas says Scouting America will alter several policies to maintain support for the U.S. military.
The changes include a requirement that members use biological sex at birth and not gender identity. Texas has criticized Scouting America's historic rebrand from the Boy Scouts and other changes in recent years that he considers part of woke culture. The organization began allowing gay use in 2013, ended a ban on gay adult leaders in 2015, and announced in 2017 that it would accept transgenders to Rich Thomason reporting.
Warren Buffett's successor released his first letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders yesterday as the company took a $4.5 billion write-down on the value of its Kraft Heinz and Occidental Petroleum stakes. Greg Abel took over as CEO in January. Investors are watching closely for any changes that he may make. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. There's been a deadly transit crash in central Milan.
Milan's mayor, Beppe Sala, says one victim was aboard the tram and another was passing by. The mayor says the tram skipped a stop and was traveling at a higher rate of speed than would be expected. He says the driver has been hospitalized and the investigation is underway. Video by Sky TG24 shows the tram suddenly swerve at a switch track that is used by another tram line and go off its usual course, and nearly flip on its side before slamming to a stop. The number 9 tram runs through the busy heart of Milan, which is hosting seasonal fashion shows and preparations for the Paralympic Games. I'm Jennifer Keane.
A high-stakes dispute over how the U.S. military uses AI has led the Pentagon to cancel its contract with rising AI star Anthropic. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declaring Anthropic a supply chain risk, a step that could jeopardize its business. You'll find more stories, breaking news, and analysis at townhall.com.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of the media ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests. Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WBBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Middleboro in Review. I am Joey Driscoll. Today is the 1st of March, 2026. March 1st. 2 months down on the year and several more months to go here in 2026. But yeah, January and February are done. As we are getting closer, hopefully, to spring. It's definitely going to feel like spring over the next couple of days. After this brief little, excuse me, after this brief little cold spell we're going to have tonight into tomorrow and tomorrow night. So, yeah, we're hopefully seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here a little bit with winter. It's been a tough couple of months when it comes to the weather and the snow here. So let's, speaking of the weather, let's take a look at it. Take a look at the weather. We'll start with Taunton, 28 degrees currently, a high of 35 today. So I don't know if there'll be much melting per se with the temperatures, because the sun, you're not going to see much of the sun. You are seeing it now, I believe, which is good. But I don't know how much of the sun you're going to see today. It is going to be cloudy today. Wind gusts up to 16 miles per hour. Excuse me. I might do a little bit of melting today, but there is some snow potential for today. It's only a 60% chance. The snow that we were forecasted to get, it is kind of that forecast has kind of fallen apart quite a bit. I think the warm temperatures have something to do with that. But 35 today, a low of 13 tonight in Taunton. Tomorrow will be the cold day. It is going to be 27 degrees. That's it, 27 degrees. No melting at all will happen tomorrow. But you have sunny skies, a low of just 6. And I don't know if there's going to be any wind involved. If there's any wind involved, that feels like temperature goes down a little bit from there too. Tuesday it warms up a little bit, 39 degrees with an 85% chance of rain and a 13-degree low. And then this is where you start to see recovery with the highs and the lows. There is a 95% chance of rain on Wednesday, so rain is likely on Wednesday, but a high of 52 and a low of 30. So the temperatures start to go up even at night as well once we get into Wednesday. So got a couple days here today, tomorrow, and Tuesday where you're going to have some cold temperatures, especially at night. But once we get through that, we got at least a week of really nice temperatures in Taunton. So that is something to look forward to for sure. But we may get a quick little snow shower this afternoon. Still, that's to be kind of taking a look at very closely. In Middleboro, 26 degrees, a high of 36 today with a low of 13. Cloudy skies today. Wind gusts are at 15 miles per hour. Again, there is a 60% chance, actually a little bit more, 65% chance in Middleboro of snow. Again, not sure how much we're going to get, if much at all, with this snow. 26 tomorrow with a low of 7 and clear skies. And on Tuesday, 85% chance of rain with a high of 39 and a low of 13. All right, in Driscoll, Texas, 68 degrees right now. High of 83, low of 67 today with a wind gust right now up to 17 miles per hour. So it's going to be cloudy throughout the day today and very windy in Driscoll, Texas. Monday, clear skies, high of 84, low of 66. And then you got a couple of days, Tuesday through Friday, where you will be in the upper 80s. in Driscoll, Texas. However, it'll be windy as well, and the low temperatures seem pretty nice as well in Driscoll, Texas. Driscoll, North Dakota. It is only 2 degrees. Feels like temperature of -5. High of just 25 today with a low of 1. Cloudy conditions expected out the day today. Clearing up a little bit late evening. You might get a couple of hours of sun before it sets over there. So low again 1, but the feels like it's -5 right now. Temperatures recover tomorrow. Cloudy skies, high of 41 with a low of 17 in Driscoll, North Dakota. And in Holiday, Florida, 74 degrees with a low of 58, currently 58. Cloudy throughout the morning, recovering to have some clear skies late for the last couple hours of the day as well. And getting into the 70s, the mid 70s today. 77 tomorrow, clear skies with a low of 59. And on Tuesday, also clear skies, high of 77 with a low of 60 in Holiday, Florida. Now we go to our Today in Histories for today, March 1st, 2026. Oh, by the way, we have open phone lines today, 508-822-1106, 508-822-1106 is the number if you want to call in and talk about what's on your mind this morning. All right, our Today in Histories. March 1st, 1692, Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tybula are brought before the local magistrates in Salem Village, Massachusetts, beginning what would become known as the Salem Witch Trials. 1845, United States President John Tyler, he signs a bill authorizing the United States to annex the Republic of Texas. March 1st, 1867, Nebraska is admitted as the 37th U.S. state. March 1st, 1872, Yellowstone National Park is established as the world's first national park. 1893, electrical engineer Nikola Tesla gives the first public demonstration of the radio in St. Louis, Missouri. 1910, the deadliest avalanche in the United States history buries a Great Northern Railway train in northeastern King County, Washington, and that kills 96 people. March 1st, 1998, Titanic becomes the first film to gross over $1 billion worldwide. And now you get that number at least once yearly when it comes to movies nowadays. But that was a big thing back then in 1998. Titanic grossing $1 billion worldwide. I think it's well over $2 billion now. And it's one of the highest grossing films of all time. It has been the highest grossing film of all time at some points in the past. It's not anymore, but it definitely used to be for a few years there. We have our birthdays today. 1732, William Cushing, an American lawyer and judge. 1904, Glenn Miller, an American trombonist, composer, and band leader. Very famous band leader, Glenn Miller. 1917, Robert Lowell, an American poet, I believe from Massachusetts. Yes, he was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1917. Passed away in 1977. Okay. 1926, Pete Rozelle, an American businessman. He was the third NFL football commissioner. And he was well known as one of the best ones that the NFL has ever had, commissioner wise. Um, so he was born on this day in 1926. He would have been 100 today. He passed away in 1996. 1927, Harry Belafonte, American singer, songwriter, and actor. 1944, Roger Daltrey, English singer, songwriter, producer, and actor. 1965, Booker T, an American professional wrestler for WWE, WWF, I believe, as well. WCW, I believe, too. TNA. He's been all over the place, and he currently does commentary for the NXT brand there for WWE. We have 1983, Lupita Nyong'o, a Kenyan Mexican actress, been in a lot of great films. Uh, 12 Years a Slave, I believe that was one of her movies that she was in, and I believe Black Panther as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. She was in The Jungle Book as well. Oh, yes, she was in Black Panther. A couple of horror movies as well. Us, A Quiet Place. So, very good actress. I've seen a lot of her movies. Again, very, very good. Very good actress there. Lupita Nyong'o, born on this day in 1983. Born on this day in 1986, Big E, American professional wrestler, just recently retired. He had a neck injury a couple of years back. 1987, Kyle O'Reilly, Canadian professional wrestler, currently in AEW. He was in WWE, mostly on the NXT brand. And 1989, Tennille Dashwood, another former WWE wrestler as well. Born on this day in 1989, Tennille Dashwood, known as Emma on the main roster there at WWE. 1994, Justin Bieber, Canadian singer-songwriter, very popular in the early 2010s. He is 32 today. And we have one death today to talk about. 1998, Archie Goodwin, an American author and illustrator, passed away on this day in 1998. Archie Goodwin worked on lots of comic books for Marvel Comics as well. He's also known for his work on Star Wars as well, with comic books and newspaper strips. Regularly cited as the best loved comic book editor ever. So there you go. That is your birthdays, passings, and today in histories for today, March 1st. All right, it is 7:21 a.m. We are going to take our first commercial break, and we will be right back here on WBBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Here's my log. Okay, there it is.
Furnaces, boilers, fireplaces, and generators release carbon monoxide, a poisonous gas that you can't see, smell, or taste. If snowdrifts block exhaust vents outside of your home, carbon monoxide can rise to deadly levels inside. Keep exhaust vents and flues clear of snow, and be sure to have working carbon monoxide alarms on every level of your home. A message from the Taunton Fire Department and your hometown radio station, WBBF. Here's a winter driving safety reminder. Before you hit the road, take a few extra minutes to clear all snow and ice from your vehicle, especially the roof, hood, lights, and windows. Snow left on your roof can slide onto your windshield or fly off and endanger other drivers. Make sure your windshield is fully defrosted so you have a clear view of the road. Clear headlights, taillights, and mirrors so others can see you. A few minutes of prep can prevent crashes and injuries. A reminder from the Rainham Police Department and your friends at your hometown radio station, WBBF.
Future's moving fast. Are you keeping up? I'm Ken Chester, host of the new Tech Mobility Minute on WBBF. Weekday mornings at 7:42 and 8:52, I got through the tech talk to explain mobility, innovation, and what it means for everyday life. Smart, fast, and easy to understand. The Tech Mobility Minute, heard twice daily on AM 1530, WBBF, and 99.7 FM, your hometown station for Middleboro, Taunton, and southeastern Massachusetts.
All right. 320. And we are back, 7:24 a.m. here on Middleboro in Review. A couple minutes here before the 7:30 news break. Got a couple of important Taunton things to just mention here. Open phone lines, 508-822-1106 is the number if you want to call in, talk about what's on your mind this morning. But we have a couple of Taunton things I want to mention here. An update as of yesterday, the City of Taunton parking ban update for yesterday, Saturday, February 28th. Since I received this yesterday. The citywide parking ban remains in effect. Limited on-street parking is now permitted only in the following areas: Main Street, which is downtown, Cohannet Street, Cohannet School to Taunton Green, Winthrop Street, High Street to Taunton Green. In all other areas, vehicles must remain off the roadways to allow crews to continue their snow removal operations, widen streets, reduce snowbanks, and complete storm recovery work. Specific neighborhoods are being worked on overnight. Any vehicles left on the street during active cleanup operations will be ticketed and towed to allow crews to safely and effectively complete their work. So cleanup is still underway. This is almost a week after the storm, so that's kind of tells you how much snow we got. If there are parking bans still in effect in areas of the city, and that's again just kind of a statement as to how much snow we actually got, which was a lot of snow. So hopefully things improve this weekend with that. We'll today with that, and we go into next week where those are able to be lifted there, the parking ban there. Another update I want to mention here is the Taunton trash and recycling schedule update. Please note there have been additional changes that have been made to this week's trash and recycling schedule. Monday, February 23rd collection, that will be picked up tomorrow. March the 2nd. There is no past week collection. There's no collection on Tuesday. Tuesday's February 24th collection, that will be picked up this Tuesday, March the 3rd. Wednesday's collection will occur on Thursday. Thursday's collection will occur, which already, this is referring to last week, I believe. So Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays collections all happened last week. I think that's referring to last week there. Please note the Monday, March the 2nd collection will include both A week and B week recycling. A week recycling Monday, February 23rd. B week recycling as March 2nd. Tuesday is March 3rd collection that will include both A and B weeks. A week, Tuesday, February 24th, and B week, March 3rd. The city's convenience center is now open. Reopened on Friday. If you have any questions, please contact the DPW at 508-821-1431. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we continue to recover from the storm and work to restore normal operations. So there you go. So this week, trash pickup will be a little bit different. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. All right, at 7:29 a.m., we're going to be taking our news break in just a minute. When we return, we'll have other local news things to talk about, other local events to talk about as well. We return to the Herring Run Festival. We're talking about that as well. We talked about that on Friday. I'll mention it here again for Middleboro and review listeners here. But the Herring Run Festival is returning once again. So we'll talk a little bit about that out of the news break as well. I believe Dawn will be joining us as well for the second half of the show. So stay tuned. And your phone calls, 508-822-1106. Now let's take our 7:30 news break from the Salem Radio News, or Salem Radio Network. The Town Hall News coming right up.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Herring. The U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran has brought explosions inside Tehran this morning and missile strikes across the Middle East. This following the killing of Iran's supreme leader. A huge blast rocked Tehran this morning as Israel said it was targeting the city's center. Iran fired missiles and drones at Israel and at U.S. sites in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. The attack on Iran has disrupted flights across the Middle East.
The disruptions come as countries near that region close their airspace. In addition, 3 key airports that connect Europe, Africa, and the West to Asia halted operations. Israel, Qatar, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Bahrain all closed their airspace. Those closures stranded thousands of travelers or diverted them to other airports.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart, the head of the Family Research Council, is warning Republican leaders not to ignore abortion in this midterm election cycle. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton has more.
President Trump made no mention of pro-life priorities during last week's State of the Union address, and FRC's Tony Perkins says ignoring the issue could be a vulnerability for the GOP.
The rank and file understand that. I think the president doesn't completely understand it, but there's a poll just recently released that shows that this is a very important issue for Republican voters.
The president also recently suggested that House lawmakers give a little when it comes to federal funding of abortion services. Greg Cluxton, Washington.
At least 2 retail customers have filed proposed class action lawsuits against companies that have sued in trade court to ensure they get refunds on tariffs now deemed illegal. The companies, I should say the plaintiffs in the class action suit, want that money to go back to the customers if the companies ever get it. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Whether you're preparing for exams, juggling family and career, or just looking to stay sharp as you age, Think Factor is here to help. Created by the same company that makes Relief Factor, Think Factor supports sharper focus, stronger recall, and clearer thinking. It's the natural way to give your brain the daily nutrients it needs for memory, attention, and even vibrant vision. Call 800-4-RELIEF, 800, the number 4-RELIEF, or visit relieffactor.com to learn more. Look, I was a little bit skeptical. I started taking Think Factor. After a few weeks, wow, my memory, my focus, my concentration, better than ever. And Think Factor results get better the longer it's taken. If you want to stay focused during demanding tasks, keep your memory strong, maintain mental energy for whatever's ahead,
There you are.
Think Factor is for you. Call 800-4RELIEF, 800
Hello.
4RELIEF, or visit relieffactor.com to learn
I'm
more. And
fine.
Think Factor. Your first bottle is
Oh,
just
thank you.
$19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better daily. Call 800-4RELIEF or visit relieffactor.com for Think Factor.
Donuts over here.
Authorities say at least 9 people were killed in clashes with police today after hundreds of protesters stormed the U.S. consulate in the Pakistani port city of Karachi. Violence came after the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran and killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Police say the protesters have been dispersed and the situation is under control. Karachi is the largest city in Pakistan. The protesters were minority Shiites in the predominantly Sunni Muslim country. Netflix is declining to raise its offer to buy Warner Brothers Discovery studio and streaming business, a stunning move that effectively puts Paramount.
We talk about sports and
Take over.
No.
After Warner's board announced
The weather,
Paramount's offer
state
was
histories,
superior to
and
the
then they
agreement
had
struck
2
with Netflix.
Taunton
The streaming
related
giant
things I had to
said
talk
Price
about.
would be required to buy Warner
Uh,
to make it a deal
based
that
on
was
the
no longer
snowstorm.
financially
Oh, yeah.
attractive.
Yeah, the trash pickup for this week, and then
News and analysis.
the parking ban is still in effect in some areas.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
Another
so
big
much
company
snow.
is
to
leaving
get.
California. We get the
Makes
story
sense.
from correspondent Bill Alexander.
Public Storage,
Well, they
which
didn't
is
have
the
any trash
largest
pickup last week
self-storage
at all,
company
did
in
they?
the United States, announced
The
it's
first part of
moving
it.
its corporate headquarters to Frisco, Texas.
First part.
The company was
Half
founded
of
in
the-
California
half of the
in
week they did.
1972,
Yeah,
and has
like
been
Monday,
based in
Tuesday,
Glendale,
Wednesday,
a
probably
Los
Thursday,
Angeles
Friday,
suburb.
Saturday.
Public Storage said.
They did it differently, yeah.
Taking
So
advantage of the depth of talent and innovation in the Frisco market.
Conservatives suggest California's high taxes, high gas prices, high housing prices, and underperforming schools also may have played a part. Neil Sedaka has passed away, the million-selling singer and songwriter, had many hits, including Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, Calendar Girl, and Oh Carol, a lament for his high school
you're a red
sweetheart,
light.
Carol King. Among those covering his work are Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and the Captain of Tennille, whose version of Love Will Keep Us Together was #1 in 1975. Neil Sedaka was 86. More on these stories at townhall.com.
And just as you just heard on the Salem Radio Network, the town hall news there, yeah, Neil Sedaka passed away this weekend. Kind of came as a shock there. I had heard about him being admitted into the hospital. I think they mentioned in the article that he was, getting better, and then just like that, he's gone. That's a heartbreaking thing. I didn't know too much of his music. I knew of his music, of course, via a lot of covers that a lot of other artists did of his work. Don, maybe you can talk a little bit more about Neil Sedaka.
I really don't know much about Neil, too, except for those quite the songs that the news broadcast talked about.
Yeah.
He had a distinct voice, though, kind of almost like it's like the teenager that grew up. So,
Yeah, he did.
Even as his career went on, it's kind of nice, to have that. I do remember his voice in some songs that I've heard, and it's like endless youth in his voice. I think so. That's what I got out of that, and it's always heartbreaking, when you feel somebody's gonna
they may be a little ill on the ropes a little bit, and then something happens, they pass away, and I mean, we had a dear friend that's happened to recently, you know what I mean? And thinking, hey, that individual's gonna be fine, and we'll be seeing them, and all of a sudden he's not. So
Yeah.
it's always, every day is a precious gift, in my opinion. As we're mourning, family loss too, in the fall, and it's heartbreaking sometimes. So you think about all the little quirks, and sometimes you might say a little pain in the neck, but you wish that pain in the neck was back. Those little quirks that people do that you remember,
Yeah.
which is very, I think, very important.
Another popular name that we lost this week as well, Robert Carradine, as well. I didn't know too much about Robert Carradine. I knew that
He was an actor. Keith Carradine was his brother.
yeah, David Carradine, half brother.
Oh, David, yeah.
David Carradine was his half brother.
And David Carradine was a Kung Fu, right?
Yeah, he was in
guy.
Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Kill Bill. He was like the main character there.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so good to Kill Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's been movies with David
Yeah.
Carradine we might have seen and not realized it.
Yeah. Robert Carradine though, best known, and for the younger audience, they'll know that name as Lizzie McGuire's father and Lizzie McGuire. I didn't really watch Lizzie McGuire too much, so I don't know too much about that show. But
He was in movies though.
he was in movies. He was in other movies. I just don't know too much.
I mean, if you got a list
outside of
going, there'd be a lot of movies that you say, yeah, I've seen that. A lot of character acting.
I
too.
believe he was in Django Unchained. I believe. Don't
Oh,
quote me on that. I believe he was.
okay,
That was one of the movies he was in.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, wanted to mention those two passings this week. Those were all over the news. Those were big passings for this week. Okay, we are going to move on to some local stuff here. We will get into some transportation. Don't worry. People wanting to know Don's thoughts on the great transportation of our state. We'll talk to Don in a couple minutes about that. But let's get into some local events here. And one of the things I want to talk about is the annual Herring Run Festival. Herring Run. There we go. Thank you, Don. Thank you for correcting me.
It's like, yeah, it's herring.
Herring Run Festival.
Herring.
Thank you for correcting me. I don't know what year this is. If anyone's listening in Middleboro, give us a call, 508-822-1106. Let us know what year event this is. I think this is 12th year, maybe 13th year. Give us a call, 508-822-1106.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say on this.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Usually when people write things up, they usually put the what number it was. The 12th annual, the 13th annual.
I think 2024 was the 10th annual. So if 2024 was the 10th annual, this would be the 12th. So I think.
I was right then. It was the 12th annual.
I think. I don't know.
All right.
Either 12th or 13th. One of those. Okay, anyway, moving on from that. Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April 12th. That seems to be the date where they like to pick that, the event on, the 11th and 12th. That's what they seem to like to do. It happens to fall. Those dates happen to fall on weekends quite a bit. Anyway,
Yeah, and it happens to fall on a rainy day.
well, hopefully not.
A couple times.
Hopefully not. Yeah, a couple times during that weekend it has rained. Yeah, hopefully not this year. Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April 12th, 12 to noon daily. Oliver Mill Park, Route 44.
What did you say?
12 to 4 daily
12 to 4?
on both Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 11th to 12th.
Okay.
Oliver Mill Park, Route 44, Damascus Street, Middleborough. Beautiful, beautiful park. Oliver Mill Park is. The event features herring inspired arts and crafts, educational exhibits. There's a lot of great educational exhibits at this event. Guided nature walks. There will be interactive displays, The festival also includes live music, food. Also, local businesses will be there as well, and a lot of fun for the family. So the Herring Run Festival is coming back for another year. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more information on that in the coming weeks. Got a couple of other events I want to mention here.
I remember your interview with Select Board member Thomas White a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And what was he talking about? The Save a Tree thing or whatever? What was that something? He's talked about that before on the trees, Save a Tree.
Oh, the Remembrance Trees?
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds really fascinating.
Yeah,
he's big on that.
That's a great event.
Yeah,
It's a great thing.
that seems to be.
Oh, we got a phone call. Let's take
Okay.
that phone call.
We got it.
Say good morning, caller.
Well, good morning, Joe. I got a little hot air left over, so if you need me snow melted, let me know.
How you doing, Jim?
Head over our place. We had like 6-foot snowdrifts in our driveway, Jimmy.
Well, Don, as an oil delivery guy, I know that even the post office couldn't keep up with how much you guys have to get through and do actually get through, Don. I noticed that every storm is difficult for you guys because that's when you get the calls.
Well, it's funny too because I'm doing Dorchester, Mattapan. I'm in the city now. Well, because I'm in Quincy. We're based out of Quincy, and I'm finding that those neighborhoods, okay, people in those neighborhoods have you shoveled out and are patient because every delivery I have to block the street. I have a helper, so I mean once he's done pumping, I can give the customer the ticket. And I always find towns like Milton and Canton, whatever, not so patient. So it's just and not shoveled out. So
well, the towns have a very different challenge than the cities, but the towns, the houses are built mostly single family and they're 40, 50 feet apart and 30, 40 feet, from the road. And most of the towns don't even have sidewalks except in a few neighborhoods near the downtowns. So basically the towns, there's nobody parked on the street because everybody's got a driveway. But in the city, they were all built before the automobile, so the streets are much more narrow, just the street itself, and the buildings are, Don, 10, 15, if that, 10 feet from the street with a little sidewalk and maybe a little strip of grass. And so it's a very different challenge for the cities, including Taunton. I mean, it's not, and I guess that people seem to think that somehow or other that their street is the most important one, and I'm sure because you live on it, that's what you think. But I have found that these DPWs, they have a plan. And, but when something happens once every, 40 years, you spend the money to have the equipment, personnel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's something you might not even do for a couple of years. So I'm not making excuses. I think the reality of it is, though, is that the cities, the New Bedford, the Fall River, the Constance, it's a different shore than Rainham has.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And
hey, I wanted to say something about Real Tobacco. Right? And by the way, don't forget David Carradine, his brother Keith. I mean, this was an acting family, and the father, of course, kind of set the standard for all of them. But that's a huge loss. But Neil Sedaka, I was born in 53, so I sort of was what you would call just before my teens and so forth. And Neil Sedaka was a person who burst on the scene with these songs that is called, Neil Sedaka himself called them sandwich songs. They would have an intro, and then, breaking up is hard to do. He did as an upbeat dance song, and he'd always start off with the bread, da, 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 and then he would have the sandwich, the verse. But then there would be a middle part that was like, and then go back to it. And he showed over the course of his career that because he wrote these happy, upbeat songs, and they were to show that not so much the innocence of youth, but the energy, the hope, and boy meets girl and girl meets boy, and everybody's having fun. And isn't it great to be young and be alive in America? And he showed though his depth when he put one of his most popular songs, "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do," and which was a hot song, a dance song, and people would flood the dance floor and sing along. He redid it, as you may recall, Don, 2 decades later as a ballad, which changed the whole feeling, the whole effect. It was a very sad, sanguine song. So Neil Sedaka was the guy who opened the door for singer-songwriters like Neil Diamond and his high school sweetheart, Carole King. And he was the guy that was always happy. You knew you were going to have fun the minute he came on the screen, on the TV or on the radio. So Joey, that's something that your generation might not understand, which is having fun and playing songs that are fun.
Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. That was a well covered song. A lot of people did that, right? That's
they did it because he before Bob Dylan came along. If you wanted to have a hit, you did a cover of the Neil Sedaka song because you knew the radio stations would play it.
Well, Jimmy, remind us who else did that song. A lot of people did. I remember hearing that because I remember his voice. Like I said earlier when we started talking about him, it's just forever young attitude. I mean, it's just I know all those songs he was younger, but it's just like never growing up. Always. You kind of just said it. You just kind of just said it.
The hope, the joy, the energy, the effervescence. There's a word don't get to use very often. Of life is what Neil Sedaka was all about for an entire generation. And the 60s turned dark towards the end of the decade, and every decade is marked by a beginning, a middle, and an end. But he was the one that ushered in the 60s. That it was all about being young and alive, and the world was your carry, and you just pick it and live it. And but later in life, he became reflective, and he stopped touring after a while, but he would still do shows, but he did them very selectively. And I knew his health. I had heard his health had declined, Joe, and thank you for mentioning that because I had heard that he was hospitalized, but he was doing better. And when I heard the news yesterday that he passed, I said, gosh, I was just reading last week or something, a week or two ago, that he was. And no, he's hospitalized, but he's doing better, and hope and look forward to a full recovery. And he wasn't 99 or 103, but at the same time, he wasn't that. He was like the Dick Clark of the performer, where he was forever young, ever young.
I'm going to switch gears here a little bit here. I want to get to a topic that Don's going to like. You're going to like this, Don. The MBTA and the Maryland Transit Administration, they've issued a joint request for proposals to procure at least 25 new locomotives. More than half would operate on electric power from existing overhead wires on the MBTA's Providence line and the Mark Penn line. This procurement, it seeks 10 new battery electric train engines that would run on the Providence line, which already has overhead power lines for Amtrak's electric Northeast Corridor. The bid documents 50 additional trains for the train engines, either powered by batteries or diesel engines, to its order in the future. I'm going to start with Don. Don, your opinions.
As far as the Northeast Corridor is concerned, the majority of, all of it runs under the wire. They talk about diesel under the wire. But if you go to Whitford Junction, which is the last stop, there's a spur that goes off to terminate at that station, at the MBTA station, and it has no wire under it. So I guess that's where the battery will work on little areas. They don't have to make new infrastructure. Same with the area for TF Green. That one track doesn't have a wire over it, so I guess that'd be good for battery. But when I was looking at when they built that, they didn't put a wire over it. I thought it was really dumb. When they built that, they put all that together back about 15 years ago. Jim, what do you think about diesel under the wire on how stupid it is.
Well, I just want to make the overriding comment of context that where you have commuter rail, and we're starting to already see this negative sort of tsunami wave coming over the Taunton, Middleboro, Berkeley area, the towns that did not have any commuter rail for many decades, that the neighborhoods along the rail lines tended to devalue, and the people in them increasingly became lower income, frequently racial minorities, and heavy duty diesel powered trains were spewing inordinate amounts of contaminants and exhaust fumes into increasingly poor and increasingly racially segregated neighborhoods. So the electrification, and you're already seeing people in the Taunton area and Berkeley. I happen to know a couple of people who live literally, an arm length from the rail bed. That these properties, because they're losing value, and the owners have the means to get out, that those properties are trending downward. So you're starting to see corridors along the rail devolve instead of evolve, Jim, and improve and increase.
Jim, so, I got a double sword. Question to ask you. Okay, so say the funding was there. I mean, usually isn't, but to put up electric lines and have everything electric. But then you have the same, you have the same people are complaining about, first of all, they live next to a railroad track, okay? They bought a house next to a railroad track. They knew they bought a house next to a railroad track. So whatever, anything could happen. It's not their property. It's a right of way. Number two, when they put the wires up, okay, a lot of people up for 24-hour construction to get it done fast. So the construction drags on for 10 years. So in a way, it's just like, I don't want the construction going on, but then again, I don't want diesels. So where's the happy medium? You always have to have one. I mean, construction to me takes way too long. And I think 24/7 shifts are the way to go. I mean, I don't know. Who do you think?
Well, I take a different view on Kennedy speaking, because in the first place, one thing you have to recall is that the right of way for the so-called South Coast line that would have come out of Stoughton was abandoned.
Right. That was supposed to be electrified, I think. That was supposed to be electrified.
When somebody buys a house somewhere with the reasonable expectation that this is the way it is, and you tell them that there's a freight line comes through here a couple of times a day, I heard that phrase over and over 30 years ago when I was in selectman and the commuter rail was a big issue. They say, well, we must have known it was going to come back. And I say to myself, well, what's next? Horse and buggy, elevator operators? I mean, you can't blame somebody for looking at the reality and then sort of hide behind that, yeah, but you knew. Because, you knew that they stopped the train, and they stopped it for a reason, and it was the automobile. And I think that, so on the issue of the electric versus diesel, one of the complaints that you get from some neighborhoods about electric trains is that they're too quiet. People can't hear them. And the noise factor from diesel versus electric just tells everything you need to know, that a rumbling diesel engine is going to make more noise and be more disruptive, regardless of whether they knew it was coming back or not. That electric is the way to go. It's quieter, it's easier to maintain, it has less environmental impact on the larger scale, the so-called carbon footprint. So I'm 110% in favor of converting to electric wherever you can and should do it. And the money's there. They should absolutely do it.
The overhead lines that they have, the catenary, okay? Now, Long Island Railroad, okay, they have third rail. I mean, up to a certain point. I think up to Ronkonkoma. Can you say it? Ronkonkoma. I'm sorry. Okay, so that I mean, I think a lot of the New York has third rails up to a certain point, and then further points after that, it's diesel. You go. Maybe lawmakers should go look and see how Long Island has it, because they have third rail, and they have grade crossings too. So, I mean, we have third rail and the red line and all the rapid transits in this, and it's all fenced off. They don't want people going in there, but I think a third rail would be all right. I mean, just if you could get a conversion. And they have it on the blue line. They have the third rail, and then when you get the airport station, the goes up to the cannularies. They lift up. So there's definitely a way to do it. It's just for savings and to get it done fast, because that's what people
I think
need.
the reality of it is that when it comes to rail and power, electric versus diesel, is that rail advocates need to understand that the people who are living in an area are impacted by it, and and as such, they can be designed and they can be constructed in a less disruptive way. You should do that, because the issue of cost, and I'm a big education advocate where I talk about how the best interests of the students are what matter, not the cost, not the taxpayers, not the teachers, not the whatever. And the same thing is true about transportation. You don't build transportation networks, including surface arteries for vehicles. You don't build them based on a cost basis. You build them on a public need. You build roads, and commuter rail is certainly something that is largely a 19th century phenomenon. But with the saturation and the build out of the urban core, you need to be able to expand into the suburbs and the rural areas. And in terms of large-scale transit systems, the rail system never made money on commuters. It's always made it on freight. And so the freight lines, are one thing. The commuter rail lines are another. When they were talking about getting the rail service restored to the South Coast, I had a friend of mine went to Japan, and he came back and said, well, in Japan, the railroads run right alongside the highway. And they do that because the highway goes where you want to go. And I thought that the thing they should have done with commuter rail to this area is come right down to Route 128. And as John Lennon said, how did you find America? He says, I took a left at Greenland. It said, if they had gone down to 128 to Railroad Station, taken a left and used the 128 corridor, which was big enough to build a jail on, by the way. And then when they get to Braintree, with Route 24, they already own a 300-foot buffer zone, the whole length of it. They already have settled the environmental issues of the Hockamar. And they could very easily just do Route 24 and 140, go where you want it to go. So put the train right next to the highway.
Yeah,
people there have been living with that, so they could live with the train, I would say.
Yeah, Jimmy. One thing too, people got to look back at other states. You have New Jersey Transit. You have the River Line, right? It shares trackage with a freight train, and they're light rail vehicle diesels, and they're less hurtful to the environment. Okay, then these big.
I didn't know they shared it with the freight service. Don.
Read up on the River Line.
Gentlemen, have a wonderful day, Joey. I want you to know I listen every Sunday. I'm not always wide awake, but be fun keeping on, my friend.
Let's get together for coffee sometime.
Yeah, I will, Don. That'd be fun.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. That was Jim Dupont giving us a call, talking about Neil Sedaka, and then talking about our great train system we got here.
No, but we're talking about the River Line. They use a light rail, like the Green Line, diesel motor unit, and it's. I mean, they use too much. They have too much infrastructure as far as the train. They have all this heavy trains. They run five carriages with an engine down to Greenbush, and they should only have two. That line could be turned into easy enough. They could just run those vehicles. Same with the Fairmont line. They don't have to run heavy engines. I don't know why they're running heavy engines. They can go with a light rail situation. Go look at the River Line. All right, Governor Haley, look at the River Line. Okay, that is a lot cheaper than running these big. I mean, in some areas you do need the engines, but the River Lines connect. They have diesels. And whatever.
All right, let's say goodbye, everybody. We'll be back next week, March 8th, 2026, for another great Middleboro discussion here on Middleboro Review, and I'm sure we'll get into probably some sports. We'll probably get into, because Paralympics are coming up as well, also in Milan. I'm going to do the same thing I did for the Winter Olympics, which is the gold, silver, and bronze medal count for each country when it comes to the Milan Cortina 2026 Paralympics as well. I'm going to do the medal count for that as well. So that, I think that starts this upcoming Friday, the Paralympics in Milan, Italy. So we'll have more on that on Sunday. We'll get into some sports. We'll get into some transportation again, of course. So have a great week, everybody, and good luck to all the Red Sox players playing across the World Baseball Classic starting on Thursday, I believe it is. Bye-bye, everybody.
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Herring. The U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran has brought explosions inside Tehran this morning, and missile strikes across the Middle East is following the killing